Welcome to the most thrilling and jaw-dropping episode for all coin collectors, treasure hunters, and numismatic enthusiasts tuning in today, because in this video, we're diving deep into the astonishing world of rare American currency and focusing on a coin that might be lying forgotten in your old drawers or tucked away in a dusty jar in your home, a 1975 one-penny USA coin that, against all odds, has a jaw-dropping estimated value of $1 million due to an incredible combination of mint errors, historical anomalies, production mishaps, and unique characteristics that defy the ordinary. And before you blink twice, let me tell you that this tiny copper-colored coin with a face value of just 1 cent has stunned collectors around the world not only for its rarity but also for the mysteries it holds within its tiny circular frame. And as we peel back the layers of its unexpected journey from minting machines to the most exclusive numismatic auctions, we will uncover how a simple penny from 1975, originally meant for everyday transactions, perhaps even exchanged for candy or stamps back in the day, has now become a piece of history worth an unimaginable fortune. And what's more fascinating is that the 1975 penny doesn't stand out at first glance, blending in seamlessly with other coins of its era, but upon closer inspection by expert eyes, the truth reveals itself through subtle mistakes and minting irregularities that only a trained collector or a truly lucky individual would recognize, because these mistakes are not ordinary but include doubling of letters, off-center strikes, die clashes, wrong planchette errors, and most notably, mysterious variations in mint marks that were never meant to exist, as well as copper content inconsistencies and other metallurgical oddities that make each erroneous 1975 penny a one-of-a-kind specimen that challenges even the most experienced coin graders and numismatists who dedicate their lives to understanding such phenomena. And to understand the true value and rarity of this penny, we must take a historical lens to examine how the United States Mint operated in the mid-1970s, during a time of technological transition, economic shifts, and material changes that played a crucial role in the accidental birth of such an extraordinary coin, because back in 1975, the US Mint was navigating the complexities of inflation, rising metal prices, and increasing demand for coins, and in this rush, many coins were produced in bulk, leading to occasional slips in quality control. And while most coins were minted correctly, once in a blue moon, a flawed coin made its way into circulation unnoticed, destined to be discovered decades later by someone with an eye for rare beauty and historical value. And in the case of the 1975 penny, a number of astonishing errors have been identified, some of which include no mint mark varieties, even though Philadelphia-produced coins in 1975 typically had none. But what sets certain error coins apart is the presence of a ghost mint mark where none should exist, or a faint D or S punch that appears to have been applied incorrectly or partially erased, leading experts to believe that minting tools from prior years or different locations may have been reused or mistakenly applied. And when such anomalies are paired with other striking defects like double die obverse or reverse features, meaning the date or the words, "In God We Trust," or "Liberty," or "1 cent," appear twice slightly offset due to the die shifting during the strike, it multiplies the rarity and collector demand significantly. And to add even more intrigue, there are examples of 1975 pennies being struck on planchets meant for foreign coins or for dimes, resulting in coins that are lighter in weight, silvery in color, or smaller in diameter. Essentially hybrid errors that are virtually priceless due to their uniqueness and the microscopic probability of such a minting accident occurring and escaping quality control. And in some of the most notable cases that have reached public auction, such coins have fetched astronomical prices because high-end collectors and museums are constantly seeking to acquire pieces that offer both historical context and numismatic curiosity. And it's not just about the visible errors but also the story behind the coin, the circumstances that allowed such an error to exist, the time period it came from, and the rarity in terms of population, meaning how many such coins are confirmed to exist or suspected to be in circulation. And with fewer than a handful of confirmed examples of these $1 million 1975 penny errors in the hands of collectors, the stakes are high for anyone who might unknowingly possess one. And imagine the thrill of finding one such coin in your spare change or inherited collection, holding a piece of accidental art forged by history and worth enough to change your life forever. And that's why understanding how to identify these key characteristics is essential. And for the 1975 penny, collectors should look for a combination of signs such as doubling on the date or lettering, absence or strangeness in the mint mark area, unusual coloration indicating incorrect metal content, incorrect size or weight, off-center images, or even a mirror-like proof finish on a coin that was not meant to be a proof. all of which point to a coin that defies the standard and enters the realm of true rarity, and it is this convergence of anomalies that creates the perfect storm of collectability, with even a single one of these flaws capable of raising the coin's value significantly. But when multiple such flaws occur on a single coin, especially a common denomination like the penny from a non-key date like 1975, the result is a staggering reappraisal of its worth. And this is not speculative hype but supported by actual auction records and professional appraisals, where coin grading services such as PCGS and NGC have authenticated and certified these coins, verifying their errors and cementing their place in the pantheon of rare US currency. And it's worth noting that these coins, once certified and slabbed, become even more attractive to elite collectors because their authenticity is guaranteed, meaning no guesswork is involved, and the demand for these coins only increases as awareness spreads through collector communities, online forums, and auction houses. And speaking of auctions, some of these 1975 penny-era coins have been known to fetch well into the six-figure range, with speculative values reaching close to the $1 million mark depending on the quality, era type, and buyer interest at the time of sale. And as more collectors become aware of these hidden treasures, the race is on to find remaining specimens still out in the wild, tucked away in forgotten change jars, old coin rolls, bank boxes, or inherited collections passed down through generations. And this is precisely why you should never underestimate the potential of the coins in your possession, especially older pennies which were minted in copper prior to 1982 and are inherently more valuable for their metal content alone. But when combined with these rare minting errors, their value can skyrocket beyond imagination, turning what appears to be a humble, outdated coin into a life-changing asset. And remember, in the world of numismatics, knowledge is power, so take the time to examine your coins closely. Learn about error types, understand what makes a coin valuable, and most importantly, stay curious because the next $1 million penny could be hiding in plain sight, waiting for someone like you to recognize its worth and unlock its story. So keep watching, keep searching, and stay passionate about this incredible hobby that continues to surprise us with its hidden treasures. And who knows, maybe you'll be the next person to discover a 1975 penny worth far more than just 1 cent, a penny that rewrites history and proves that sometimes the smallest things can hold the greatest value in the world. Where we dive deep into the hidden treasures that might be lying in your pocket change right now. Yes, you heard it right, because today we are talking about a small yet incredibly valuable coin that has taken the numismatic world by storm, a coin that many people overlook without knowing that it could be worth an astonishing $0.9 million. That's right, a single 1982 D penny. Seemingly ordinary but packed with unbelievable history, rarity, errors, minting flaws, and mysterious anomalies that together make it one of the most sought-after coins in American coinage history. And as we unravel its secrets, possibilities, and the astonishing factors that led this copper-clad coin to defy its humble face value of just 1 cent, you'll understand why collectors, investors, historians, and treasure hunters from around the globe are obsessed with finding one. Starting with the basics. The 1982 D penny was struck at the Denver Mint, one of the United States mint facilities known for its high volume coin production, and in 1982 something truly unprecedented happened in the US Mint's history. The year was marked by a major transitional period in the composition of the Lincoln cent, which had been minted with 95% copper and 5% zinc since 1962. However, due to rising copper prices in the early 1980s, the US Mint decided to switch the composition to a primarily zinc core with a thin copper plating, reducing the intrinsic metal value of each cent dramatically. This transition occurred mid-year, meaning both copper and zinc versions of the 1982 penny exist, and to add more complexity, there were actually 7 different varieties minted in that single year, including large date and small date versions for both copper and zinc coins from the Philadelphia and Denver mints. And among these, the most mysterious, rarest, and valuable is the 1982 D small date penny struck in solid copper, which by all standard records should not exist because the Denver Mint was only supposed to produce copper-plated zinc coins with the small date design. Yet at some point during this transition, a small number of copper planchets were mistakenly used to strike small date coins, which technically should have only been minted in zinc, making such a coin a striking anomaly. Now imagine the magnitude of this error. It's as if the rules of minting were broken and something so unique was accidentally created and escaped the mint into general circulation, only to be discovered decades later. by vigilant collectors who measured weight and analyzed composition using sophisticated equipment like the gram scale and XRF analyzers, because while the standard copper penny weighs about 3.11 grams and the zinc version just 2.5 grams, this weight difference alone became the critical clue to uncovering one of the greatest modern coin treasures. And when it comes to the 1982D copper small date penny, only a few have ever been confirmed to exist, making them an absolute rarity, and rarity is the foundation of value in the world of coin collecting. But rarity alone doesn't paint the whole picture, because what adds even more to the mystique and value of this coin are the multiple possibilities of how such an error could have occurred. Was it a leftover copper planchet mistakenly fed into the press? Was it a deliberate act? Was it part of an experimental batch? Or perhaps a mule error? Or was it due to oversight during the chaotic and complex switchover year when the mint was handling multiple varieties, all plausible theories, each adding to the legend of this elusive coin? And then there's the matter of the D-Mint mark itself, indicating the Denver Mint, which adds another layer of intrigue because no copper small date cents were ever meant to be produced there, raising questions about whether this was a production oversight or a rogue error that slipped past quality controls. Now imagine owning such a coin, a tiny 19mm disc of metal worth nearly $1 million, a coin that turns every coin jar, every old piggy bank, and every dusty drawer into a potential treasure hunt location. And the stories of people discovering these rare coins in everyday circumstances only fuels the frenzy, like the collector who found one after years of studying weights and dates, sending it for verification and grading to professional services like PCGS or NGC, which then authenticated it as genuine, skyrocketing its value and interest worldwide. And when coins like these hit auction blocks or private sales, the bidding wars are fierce, passionate, and often historic, because collectors know that they are bidding not just on a piece of currency but on a mistake that made history, a fragment of an event that shouldn't have happened but did, and in that mistake lies the magic. And while only a few such coins have been confirmed, the possibility that more are out there keeps collectors on edge, searching, analyzing, comparing dates, weights, and mint marks under microscopes and loupes, hoping to find that one elusive specimen that defies odds and financial logic. And if you think that's where the story ends, think again, because the world of numismatics is filled with possibilities, and experts believe that there could be more undiscovered varieties or hybrid compositions, especially considering the hurried and chaotic nature of the 1982 minting transition, where inconsistencies were inevitable and oversight was limited, further increasing the possibility that a number of other errors might be hiding in plain sight, waiting to be discovered. And what about doubled dies, off-center strikes, planchet errors, and misaligned dies that could have occurred in tandem with the transitional compositions, creating potentially multi-error coins from 1982 which would command even greater value and significance? And what if one of these copper small date 1982D pennies also contained a dramatic minting flaw, like a struck-through error or an off-metal strike? The value could increase exponentially, even beyond the already jaw-dropping $0.9 million estimated value for the standard variety. And this is why professional coin graders and collectors emphasize the importance of accurate weight measurement, metallurgical testing, and professional certification to ensure legitimacy. And given the rise in counterfeit coins, especially for such rare and high-value specimens, authentication becomes absolutely essential. And while the vast majority of 1982D pennies are zinc-based and relatively worthless beyond face value, the existence of even a handful of authentic copper small-date specimens proves that anomalies do occur and that history often hides in the most ordinary of places, sometimes even in your own pocket. And every time you hold a 1982 penny, you are holding a piece of history and possibly even $1 million treasure. Because as long as coins are struck by machines and handled by humans, mistakes will happen, and those mistakes, when rare enough, become the crown jewels of coin collections, elevating a humble penny into the stratosphere of financial and historical value. And this is the magic of coin collecting, where passion meets possibility, history meets mystery, and the ordinary becomes extraordinary. So the next time you come across an old penny, especially a 1982D, don't just toss it aside, weigh it, examine it, study the date and mint mark, and you might just be holding the next legendary coin, a survivor of a chaotic minting year, a relic of a transition era, and a masterpiece of mint era history worth nearly $1 million, a coin that proves the incredible value that a small mistake can carry. And as we close this story of the 1982D copper small date penny, we leave you with one thought: sometimes the smallest coins carry the biggest stories, and maybe, just maybe, you're one coin away from a life-changing discovery. where we dive deep into the fascinating world of rare coins and extraordinary finds hidden in plain sight. And today, get ready to uncover one of the most mind-blowing and astonishing stories in American coin history that will leave you stunned, excited, and on the edge of your seat, because we're about to explore the mystery, history, and insane value of the 1995 D. Lincoln 1-cent penny coin that, believe it or not, has been appraised at an unbelievable and jaw-dropping worth of $0.6 million US dollars. Yes, you heard that right. A simple penny you might have overlooked or even tossed into a change jar could potentially be worth a life-changing fortune due to a rare combination of errors, mint mark anomalies, and production mishaps that transformed what should have been an ordinary coin into a numismatic marvel and collector's dream that has sparked debates, investigations, and frenzied bidding wars in auctions and private sales alike. And what makes this particular coin so extraordinary goes far beyond the fact that it was minted in 1995 in Denver as indicated by the D mint mark. It's a convergence of historical context, production environment, mechanical anomalies, and minting inconsistencies that collide to create something so exceptional that numismatists and seasoned collectors consider it a holy grail among Lincoln cents. So let's take a comprehensive journey into every detail, every nuance, and every possibility surrounding the 1995 D penny that made its way into the pantheon of ultra-rare and high-value coins, because back in 1995 the US Mint was operating under immense pressure with millions of coins being produced daily, and with such enormous output sometimes even the tiniest unnoticed miscalculation or mechanical failure in the minting machinery could result in variations, misalignments, double strikes, die clashes, or mispunched mint marks. And while most of these get caught and destroyed during the quality control process, occasionally one slips through the cracks and ends up in circulation, and when that happens, especially if the error is unique or near impossible to replicate, its rarity skyrockets. And that's exactly the case with this specific 1995 D penny that stunned experts when it was discovered with a perfect storm of flaws, including a clearly visible double die obverse which causes the inscriptions on the front of the coin such as, "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the date, 1995, to appear doubled and almost vibrating, creating a visual echo effect that's clearly noticeable to the naked eye without magnification. And if that wasn't enough, further microscopic analysis revealed that the D mint mark itself was mispunched, believed to be manually added in that era. There's compelling evidence that the mark was struck over a previously faint or misaligned mark, suggesting either a repunched mint mark, RPM, or a transition error during a tooling change, and these types of errors are incredibly rare and sought after, especially when coupled with a double die which already elevates a coin's status significantly. Now add to that the coin's exceptional condition, because most pennies, due to their widespread use and copper plating over zinc composition, deteriorate quickly with signs of wear, scratches, and discoloration. But this particular coin was preserved in near mint state with sharp edges, bright luster, and fully intact details, indicating it may have gone unnoticed in a roll or set for decades before discovery, further increasing its desirability. And when such a coin hits the market, especially when verified by top grading services like PCGS or NGC, its value doesn't just rise, it explodes, as we've seen in past auction records where rare era coins fetched astronomical prices, sometimes even exceeding initial estimates by hundreds of thousands of dollars. And what makes the 1995 D penny especially fascinating is how many collectors overlook it, because the more commonly known 1995 double die cent was from the Philadelphia Mint without a mint mark, which means many eyes were not trained on the Denver version, and that allowed this variant to remain hidden, increasing its mystique and shock value when it finally emerged and sent ripples across the coin collecting community, sparking renewed interest and re-examination of 1995 D rolls across the country, with treasure hunters now scouring their collections, old change jars, inherited penny albums, and forgotten bank boxes in hopes of finding a similar specimen. And what's more is the possibility that other related errors exist from the same die pair that produced this coin, potentially making it part of a minuscule batch that somehow passed undetected. And this opens up exciting new avenues for exploration as coin experts begin to study the characteristics of other 1995 D pennies for clues, comparing die patterns, strike pressure, and planchet composition to map out a comprehensive picture of what went wrong and why. And when these discoveries are made, they not only enhance our understanding of mint operations and historical timelines, but also generate massive interest in the collecting community. And to fully understand the value, we must appreciate the coin's impact on the market, where rarity, demand, condition, and story all converge to determine price. And in this case, The story alone of a lowly 1-cent coin reaching $600,000 is enough to generate media buzz, collector frenzy, and museum-level curiosity, and the demand is not just from hobbyists but also serious investors who recognize the long-term appreciation potential of such rarities, and some see these coins as tangible historical artifacts that tell a story of human error, technological evolution, and hidden wealth. And while many may argue that valuation is subjective and depends on market cycles, the documented sales figures and auction results for comparable coins only reinforce the belief that this 1995 D-penny is a once-in-a-lifetime find whose value can only increase over time, especially as more people become aware of its existence and significance, and with only a handful ever documented in pristine condition with verified errors. The laws of supply and demand dictate that its price can only go one way, up, and as more experts weigh in, authentication standards improve, and provenance trails are established, this coin's legendary status is only going to grow. So it's absolutely critical for anyone holding a 1995 D-penny or even rolls of them to take a second look, check for doubling on the obverse, analyze the mint mark under magnification, compare strike clarity, and consult with professionals if anything seems remotely unusual, because even if it's not the exact match to this $600,000 legend, there's always the possibility of discovering a close cousin with a similar error that could still fetch tens or even hundreds of thousands in the right setting. And that brings us to the larger picture of how coin errors happen and why they are valuable, because the minting process, while precise and advanced, is still subject to mechanical faults, human oversight, and transitional periods where dies are replaced, hubs are changed, or minting techniques are updated, and during those transitional phases the chances for error spike, leading to coins like the 1955 double die cent, the 1972 double die obverse, the 1983 reverse doubling, and of course the iconic 1999 wide AM penny and 1992 close AM variant, all of which are highly valuable today, and now the 1995 D joins this elite club of coin anomalies that carry extraordinary premiums due to their rarity and uniqueness. And when you consider that most people spend their lives without ever realizing that a simple copper-colored penny in their drawer might be worth more than a luxury car or even a house, it's both humbling and exciting, because it means opportunity is out there, hidden in plain sight, waiting for someone with curiosity and patience to spot the details others miss. And that's what makes this story so powerful. It's not just about a coin, it's about awareness, appreciation for detail, understanding history, and embracing the possibility that something incredibly rare and valuable might be lying unnoticed right under your nose. And that's the magic of numismatics, the thrill of the hunt, and the reward of knowledge, because every time you check your change, open an old coin album, or examine a forgotten stash, you're not just looking at money, you're looking at history, mystery, and potential. So don't underestimate the value of a single penny, especially when history has proven time and again that the smallest coins can hold the biggest secrets and the most astounding surprises. And that is why the 1995 D penny, with all its flaws, anomalies, and mysteries, stands as a shining example of how one coin's journey through production error, mint mark, misalignment, double striking, and sheer luck can turn it from an everyday object into a six-figure treasure that captures the imagination of millions and reminds us that in the world of coin collecting, anything is possible and every detail matters.